Hey, on this Saturday, I hope everybody's doing good. I am on my rant today. You know how I do my videos, multiple ones at different intervals. But anyways, the first thing I want to talk about was I think I mentioned a week ago one of my brothers had passed. Now, for the record, I was born of 9 children by 3 different women. My dad had a first wife. He had 6 children with. He had 2 children with my mom, and then he had a third child. Well, not a third, a 9th child by his second wife. He was never married to my mom. But anyways, a little backstory on that. My brother Mitchell, who was only 53, he was, of the 9, he was by age, he was the 7th child or something like that. Wait, no. He was the 5th child, excuse me. He was the 5th child born by age wise. But anyways, so he passed away from prostate cancer. It had progressed and he couldn't get treatment for it because of he had a heart condition that wouldn't allow him to get radiation or chemo. So he literally passed away, like my daddy did in 2021 from prostate cancer that is spread progressively. But I came on to say this, to just talk about my experience of my brother passing. Well, I had found out sometime last month that he was as ill as he was. I didn't know, though, that he couldn't get treatment until I spoke to somebody. But that's not the important part. The important part is this: my relationship with him. He was the first of my dad's children with his first wife to communicate with me at all, because we didn't grow up together as children, but we were in the same neighborhood. We literally, at some point, he lived up the street from me, and then later on they moved to another street down the road from where I lived. And we still didn't, we never bonded or grew up together. But over time, probably, I'm 49, probably I would say literally 30 years ago, I was probably between 18 and 19, that my brother Mitchell, would begin to talk to me, or at least open the door to communicate with me. He would speak to me because he was friends with the next door neighbor of my aunt. So he would be over there all the time, and he would always speak to me. And since I became an adult, there were times when he would actually see me, and we exchanged numbers, and we would talk, and every blue moon, because he wasn't really a talker to be on the phone much, he would text, or he would prefer to talk in person, but he would text and reply back to me, that sort of thing. But he was in fact my brother, of course, by blood. We, of course, we didn't have the connection that he probably did with his siblings, with his mom, which is understandable. But we were very acquainted. On occasion, he would give my children gifts for Christmas, like money, or I think he might have gave graduation gift to one of my children. I can't remember, but he was a giving person. From my relationship with him. So anyways, segueing off of that, his funeral was last Saturday. And my whole point was just to go and pay respect to my brother. Prior to that, I went to see his body on that Friday during the viewing hours. And I was a bit taken aback because he was much thinner than what he was from how I knew him. He wasn't a big man, but over time, he was bigger. He was a stocky built boy in school. I remember seeing him in grade school, and he being a stocky child, and not really big or anything, but just muscular built. But over time, people age, our bodies change. Anyways, when I saw him last Friday in the casket, I was taken aback because I didn't expect him to be as thin as he was. I don't know what I was expecting, but I got over it. I was okay. Initially, when I found out about his death, I had a moment, and that's been probably 2 weeks ago. And I had my time, which I've come to realize since I've gotten older, I'm not so emotional at the funeral or the ceremony, but in my own time and space. I had my own moment in my bathroom at my house or whatever. But despite that, I gave my respects to my brother Mitchell. We got the obituaries, and my younger brother Paul, who was my brother with my mama, he was kind of taken aback because our names weren't on the obituaries, which to me is fine. I don't care. I didn't expect for them to be. Their mother never accepted us, and that's fine. I get a point. I don't have any qualms with her because of how she feels. That's fine. You feel how you want to feel. But I thought in my mind, well, we're not her children, so of course we wouldn't be on the obituary. Now, my younger brother, who's younger than my brother Paul, he and his mother were even on the obituary, which I thought was odd. I could see the sibling, but not the mom, but it's whatever. So we went to the funeral, paid our respects, saw family and friends and people from the neighborhood that I don't see sometimes. But it was a fair ceremony. I call it a ceremony. I hate to call it a funeral because it is a ceremony. It's a homegoing service. The obituary was very brief. He didn't have any photos. Only the photo of him was on the front of the obituary. Mitchell was a very simple person. He didn't like a bunch of fluff and stuff anyways, necessarily. So anyways, so on the way over here to the water, which is where I'm sitting in front of at the reservoir, I was thinking about him. I was like, I'm going to just give my input on Mitchell. And to end the video, I was listening to, I don't know how I ended up on this, but it came at the right time. It was last week, and I saw, the week before last, and I saw a clip on TikTok of Erykah Badu, and she said, somebody asked her something about death, and she said, and it made so much sense. She says, you have two deaths. The first one is your physical death. The second one is when nobody calls your name again. The last time somebody calls your name. And when she said that, I was like, huh? What? The last time somebody calls your name? Like, what does that really mean? I was like, what does that... The last time somebody calls your name, which means you never really die. You never really die, because people will probably always call your name at one point or another after you've gone on. So with that being said, and from what I know spiritually, Mitchell ain't dead. Mitchell is just gone on to another realm in spiritual, in the spirit world. And I pray that he has a peaceful transition over there, and that he is there to do the work that God called him to do. Anyway, y'all have a good one. But the phrase, you have two deaths, the physical death and the last time somebody calls your name, that just resonated with me. That's real right there. But anyway, that's what I want to come on and say about that. I'll make another video about how to tell if people do and do not like you, that I have experienced. So hold tight.